Meares.
We've hit an all-time low on my end.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
20 people in the contest, and I finished 20th by a lot.
I finished third. You know why you finished 20th and I finished third?
Because you used data?
Because we didn't take Josh McCown, who was the #1 quarterback last week, for only $5,100. That's ridiculous, Josh McCown.
I am not having any luck this year on any level, on any fantasy at all. I got 3 total wins in this in 2 leagues.
Well, it's going to be tough to beat the data, dude. It's going to be tough.
I guess so. I'll give it a shot this week because I looked at it for about 3 seconds before I picked my team. Used all the money, though.
Well, and congratulations to Condia, who won our contest last week. Finished in first place, won $90. $5, he won $90.
Nice thing about this is we don't have to mail anything to him because our old contest we had to get addresses and mail shirts.
Yeah, he automatically wins. So congratulations. We will have another contest this week. Link is below in the description. Please play. It's already open. Go for it.
All right, I'm going to start with quarterbacks with Tom Brady. I'm just going for the kill.
Pretty safe pick. I'm going with Andy Dalton this week. Buffalo is giving up the most points to quarterbacks at home this year. Andy Dalton seemed like a safe pick.
I have nothing for running backs. Like I said, I used all my money again. Darren Sproles, my go-to.
Nice.
And some guy that's taken over in, C. West is his name.
Oh, his first name's like really crazy.
That's what I was saying.
Oh, yeah.
And you kept saying Nile. And it's not fucking Nile.
Yeah, it's
okay. His grandmother didn't even explain why she named him that. Who's naming their grandkid? I have him from Kansas City. He's filling in for Charles. Story came out he's going to get a bulk. He was cheap. So him and Sproles are my 2.
Those are cheap. I went one cheap, one expensive. I went Matt Forte, because Detroit is giving up the most running back points at home this year. And I went with Ryan Matthews on the same tip as you go with Sproles against the Giants. Philly scoring the 6th most points at home with running backs this year. Giants, not a great matchup. The Giants are middle of the pack, but I figured Ryan Matthews for the price was good.
All right, wide receivers. Edelman with a hookup on Brady. He's got like 20% more targets than anybody else in the NFL this year. I'm going with Fitzgerald again. And A.J. Green. I looked at matchups, and I didn't really give a shit. I just went with 3 guys I thought were having a good season.
I like those picks. I've got 2 must plays this week, so you can take my picks and listen to them. Great, but I've got 2 must plays. One is Fitzgerald, perfect play. Arizona scoring the 3rd most points by wide receiver on the road.
Moist.
Pittsburgh's giving up the 4th most points on the road to wide receivers. So, at home. At home to wide receivers. It's a perfect matchup for Fitzgerald. I'm taking AJ Green also. Buffalo's giving up the 7th most points at home to wide receivers. Cincinnati's getting the 5th most points on the road. And then I'm going major sleeper, Marquez Wilson.
Whatever.
Wide receiver for Chicago. Detroit's giving up the 6th most points at home to wide receivers, so I'm going with Marquez Wilson.
Is Alshon Jeffries out?
He's questionable, so that's why I'm going with Wilson.
All right, I'm going with Antonio Gates at my tight end spot because I didn't play him last week in either of my leagues, and I would have won if I had played him.
Nice. This is my 2nd must-play of the week. My first one was Fitzgerald. This one, Tyler Eifert. Cincinnati and Buffalo. Buffalo's giving up the 4th most points to tight ends at home, and since he's scoring the most points on the road for a tight end.
Flex, I had to go cheap. I went tight end with Delaney Walker. He's a big play.
Coming off a bye, too.
Fucking gives a shit.
I like coming off a bye.
He's on Tennessee, right?
Correct.
Okay, I thought he was, and then that was my whole idea that he was wearing baby blue. So I pretty much was like, gotta have somebody. I didn't pick a Bill this week, which when I've lost you 5 straight weeks and I finished 20 out of 20, maybe you don't pick Bills.
My flex, I went with a receiver who's playing against Minnesota, who's giving up the 2nd most points at home to wide receivers, Jeremy Maclin. I went with Jeremy Maclin this week.
So you went with a guy that's on a team that hasn't had a wide receiver touchdown?
I have had one, but Jeremy Maclin had one.
Did he really?
Week 4.
They didn't make a big stink about that. I might have been watching that week. Broncos, I got for the defense. I don't know. They seem to be like the best defense in the league. They keep making Seattle the most expensive, but
Detroit's averaging. Denver is averaging 17.6 points per game as a defense.
I can't believe every time I go on here, it's like Seattle's the most expensive. It's like it's not last year.
Correct.
It's really not last year. They have no offensive line, and their team is 2-3.
I
That
also
has nothing to do with the defense, but you got to be a good team in order to. I don't know.
I also went with
That's
Denver.
my theory.
I will say that Seattle is also a good play this week because the team they're playing against, I don't know who it is because I don't have them, is the worst team for fantasy points on the road. So it's actually a good play for Seattle, but I'd rather go with Denver, so I went with Denver.
Well, I'm just sick and fucking tired of anything Seattle.
No, I'm with you. I can't stand anybody.
No, I mean, my first 2 picks in the draft were Andrew Luck and Marshawn Lynch, and I mean, if I could not sit till the last minute every week, which I don't actually do, and try to figure out if they're playing or not. I mean, if I had like 14 guys on my roster and 15 are questionable. Like I have a questionable defense. Like my fantasy defense is questionable.
That's awesome. All right, so that's it for week 6, right? This is week 6?
Yes.
Wow, it's going fast. Make sure, again, get in our contest. It's $5. You can win $90. It always fills up. It has in 1 week, so I know I'm going to say always. It's a true statement. And make sure to tune back in next week to see how many points I beat Mo by.
See you next week.